Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another session of estimation, costing, and specification. So, in the previous class, we have taken up what are the important terms which we use in preparing an estimate. That is, we have taken up plinth area, we have taken floor area, we have taken up plot area, even we have taken carpet area, and along with that, we have studied about circulation area, right? So common passage, common area or circulation area. So many things we have studied in the previous class. So now today we'll be studying what is the proper definition of estimate, okay, and what is the meaning of specification. See, in this subject particularly, specification is clearly mentioned. The meaning of specification is very, very important, and what is the use of specification in our estimate, that also we'll be seeing in today's class. So, before going to that, we'll take up few part of that introduction. That is, we have studied that what are the basic steps comes under the category of construction. The first thing which comes under the category of construction is doing a survey. Survey of what? Survey of land, isn't it? So surveying of land is very, very important. Without surveying or without measurement, it is not necessary that surveying is needed to be done with the help of only, total station or theodolite. It may be, uh, done land survey measurements with the help of our regular measuring devices, that is measuring tape, and so many other devices are also available with us. Okay, so land measurement is very, very important in construction of any project. Okay, measurement is very, very important. Either you do the measurement with the help of electronic devices, or you do the measurement with the help of manual, regular instruments. So after doing measurements, after preparing an proper land area or plot area, then after that we go for planning. So in the case of planning, it is very, very important that it is to be planned very clearly, whether, see, suppose this is the land of any particular uh, owner. Okay, so suppose we'll take an example of a college itself. Suppose a person needs to construct a college. So for the construction of the college, proper planning needed to be done. That is, where to provide entrance, where to be provided classes, and where to provide labs. All these things comes under the category of this planning. Okay, planning. Okay, planning. Planning is very, very important. Planning is needed to be done very clearly, so that, and this, in this planning itself, entire carpet area, floor area, plinth area, all these things will come under the category of this planning itself. Then after that, in our regular construction, we go for analysis. What is the meaning of analysis? Once the plan is finalized, once the plan is completely finalized, we go for this column positioning. That is nothing but your analysis. Where to provide columns, where to provide beams, how to provide a column, whether the column should be provided in this fashion, or the column is to be provided in this fashion, or circular column is to be provided. What type of column is to be provided in this particular building is comes under the category of this analysis. After that, we go for final design. Okay, what is the steel is required for this construction, what is the size of the column, what is the size of the beam, isn't it, what is the size of the footing. All these things will come under the category of designing. Okay, so after designing of any structure, these are the things which are done on the paper itself: planning, analysis, design. Now after completing this analysis, design, and planning, then we go for the estimate. Okay, we go for the estimate. So what is the meaning of estimate? So the meaning of estimate is clearing out what is the cost to be incurred in this particular project. Okay. So in this entire PPT consists of the introduction. What is the introduction of estimation? What is the basic definition of estimation? Okay, what is building estimate? Why do we provide building estimate? And this is very, very important, dear students. That is specifications. I need to focus this specification in this class. So what are the things comes under the category of specifications? See, specifications is very, very important. Unless and until the specifications are not finalized, then it may lead to different types of, disturbance and, it may lead to different types of, the project may not move in a smooth fashion. Okay. So specification will take up, that is the very first thing which comes under the category of specification is, materials. This is very, very important concept. That is what type of material we'll be using in this entire project. So materials, once we start materials, see the entire project consists of different types of materials again. It consists of, if you go for civil work, then it may, the very first thing which comes under our mind is uh, steel, isn't it? What type of steel will be using in our construction project, in this particular project? That is, what is the grade of steel? See, we have different types of grades, different types of materials in our construction industry. The material cost maybe from 1 rupee. Suppose, for example, if you consider a small material, a brick if you consider a brick also, we have different types of bricks again. One is we have a regular red brick, another one we have, lightweight block. Along with that, we have different types of bricks, and in case of bricks again, we have different rates again. What type? We have again different classes, since we have studied in our, building materials, and I think in our second year itself, building materials and construction. There we have studied how many classes of bricks we have, isn't it? Class 1 brick, class 2 brick, class 3 brick, isn't it? So again, those bricks, the rate of those bricks again varies. It varies from 4 rupees to 10 rupees, isn't it? So different types of rates are there in every material. Even in cement, even in sand, different materials are actually, uh, prepared in your, different types of materials are available in our construction industry. So we need to clear all those things. What are the materials we'll be using in our construction project? That has to be cleared completely. Without clearing that specification, we are not supposed to move the project, or we are not supposed to start that particular project. So in case of steel, again, we will clear this one. So whether the steel is to be provided with, we have again 415 grade, we have 500 grade, we have 550 grade. Now it is soon we will be coming up with 600 grade of steel, Fe 415, Fe 500 or Fe 550. All these things needed to be cleared in the specification part itself. What are the specifications you will be providing for that particular project? Once you complete the steel, we move for the cement again. Again, we know how many types of cements we have again. This also we have studied in our construction, building materials and construction. That is, we have different grades of cement. That is, we have 33 grade, we have 43 grade, we have 53 grade. Which grade of cement we'll be using in this particular project, that we have to be that we have to clear. Okay. Now once again, if you are going for any, dam or any other different types of project, then again we have to go for, rapid hardening cement, isn't it? Then we have, if you are going for deep excavation or cellars project or underground projects, then you need to provide, so sulfate resisting cement, isn't it? Sulfate resisting cement. All these things we have studied in the building materials, isn't it? Resistant cement. Different types of cements we have. Then again, whether you are, suppose we are using 53 grade of steel, 53 grade of cement in our cement, then in our concrete, then again you need to be clear that whether this 53 grade of concrete is to be provided for RCC. Then what about masonry work? If you are going for masonry work, then you cannot provide 53 grade of cement in your masonry work, isn't it? You need to go for 43 grade of cement. You need to go for 43 grade of cement in your masonry work. So entire projects, different types of projects, or different types of materials, whatever you are using. Suppose for example, I'll be using OPC grade of cement for concrete. So I'll be mentioning here OPC 53 grade for RCC structure, and again PPC 43 grade of cement for masonry work. Different types of specifications, different types of details to be provided to the client, so that there should not be any, misunderstanding and misinterruption between the project and even between the client and the contractor and in between the engineer and contractor as well. So different types of things, different types of materials which we use has to be cleared in the specification part itself. Now the second part comes under the category is sand. What type of sand we'll be using? See, we know how many types of sands we have. First of all, we have river sand, and we all know many people are moving to manufactured sand because of the scarcity of this particular sand. People are moving for M sand, isn't it? So again in this sand, if you are using this M sand or river sand, you need to clear which zone of sand you will be using. Again we have different zones, isn't it? We have zone 1, we have zone 2, then we have zone 3 also. So different types of zones we have for the sand as well. Then if you are using M sand, then you need to be clear that in the entire RCC work or even in the masonry work, we can go for M sand or river sand. Clearly you need to mention that, so that there should not be any disturbance. Again, in the next session, in the next class, the next category which comes under the category of sand is what type of what size of material or what size of sand you will be using for this one construction project. So we know size varies from 4.75, isn't it? The aggregate size which is less than 4.75 comes under the 4.75 mm is comes under the category of sand, isn't it? Below 4.75 it is sand, and it ranges from 300 to 100 microns again, isn't it? 300 microns, it varies microns, isn't it? So now again, if you need to be clear that in case of masonry work especially, you need to clear how many coats of plaster you will be providing, what is the thickness of plaster to be provided, isn't it? So what is the ratio of cement and sand you will be providing? The standard size of cement and sand is 1 is to 6 for first coat and 1 is to 3 for second coat, isn't it? In this one, the size of the aggregate again changes, that the sand size changes, and in this one again, size of the sand will change. What is the ratio? What is the water cement ratio you will be providing, isn't it? All these things need to be clear in the specification part itself. So these things, steel, cement, sand, now comes the aggregate. That is, what do you mean by aggregate? We have coarse aggregate. We have coarse aggregate. So in case of coarse aggregate, we all know we cannot use more than 20 mm of aggregate size of aggregate in RCC work. For PCC bed, we'll be using 40 mm. All those things you need to clear that. Okay, specifications need to be very clear. That's why I'm focusing, since the subject name itself is estimation, costing and specification. So the reason of providing the name specification is very important, because nowadays many misunderstandings is happening in government projects, along with that in domestic projects also. Different types of misunderstandings and different types of misconceptions are being created in between the client and the contractor, and even in between the engineer. To avoid those things, the specifications need to be very clear. That is what is required. So for PCC bed, for PCC we go for 40 mm size of aggregate, and for RCC work we'll be going for 20 mm coarse aggregate. Now again, this 20 mm for RCC is to be well graded. What do you mean by well graded? Well graded is something wherein the entire compaction is to be properly given, all size. It is not necessary that you should use only 20 mm size of aggregate. You can use either combination of different types of aggregates, so that the aggregate should have proper gradation. What do you mean by aggregate gradation? It should, if you take those aggregates in a bucket, then there should not be any voids in between them. There should not be any voids. So since we were studying about this gradation gradation of aggregate. So as I told you before also, in case of specifications, so gradation is something coarse aggregate. I will write here once again, coarse aggregate. In case of coarse aggregate, we need to provide proper sizes of aggregates, isn't it? So proper compaction of aggregate is needed. So 20 mm, the sizes of aggregates may vary from 4.75 to 60 mm, isn't it? So what type of aggregate we'll be using in our construction project, that has to be cleared very clearly in the specification part itself. So in it may be the, in case of RCC, we use generally 20 to below 20 mm, below 20 mm aggregate, and it is not necessary that the entire project should have all 20 mm aggregate only. Okay, it may be the combination of 12 mm, 10 mm, 20 mm, okay, like that. Like we will be using 30% of this one, 20% of this one, and 50% of this one, like that. So proper, this is said to be your gradation. This is your gradation of coarse aggregate. So once you gradation of coarse aggregate, so once we use these type of combinations, we'll be having proper compaction of aggregate. So density, mass by volume of that particular product will be more. Once the density is more, concrete will get more strong, isn't it? So we need to provide proper specification, that is we will be using this size of aggregate 30%, 20% and 50%. All those things need to be clear in the specification part itself. And along with that, we'll once coarse aggregate, fine aggregate, and cement, sand, steel, all those things are completed. Now we'll move for the water. So without water, it is not possible to create hydration process, isn't it? Water is very, very important. So the very first thing is which water you will be using, whether you will be using groundwater, whether you will be using groundwater or potable water. And after using this one, after concreting, then who will be doing curing of those RCC structures or structural element. So all those things need to be cleared, whether you will be using groundwater, potable water. Then after completion of that execution of the work, who will be doing curing, who is responsible for doing curing, who is responsible for providing this water, who is responsible for providing this water, okay, who will be providing this water. All these things need to be cleared in the specification part itself. Okay, because of these things, there will be a lot of misconceptions between the client and the contractor. So that has to be very clear in the specification part itself. Okay, now after completion of this water, now we'll go for the bricks again. We have different materials, isn't it? In case of bricks, again we have studied that we have class 1, we have class 2, we have class 3. So many types of bricks we have, different types of bricks we have. So which type of brick we will be using, that has to be cleared in a clear fashion. So bricks, which class of bricks will be using. And again, in case of bricks again, we have class 1, class 2 are available in red bricks. Red bricks we have class 1, class 2, class 3, isn't it? Different types of bricks we have. Then again we have AAC blocks. What do you mean by AAC? Autoclaved aerated concrete blocks. Then after that we have CLC block. Okay, then again after finalizing the bricks, again what size of brick you will be using, what is the thickness of the wall will be providing, either it is 9-inch thick, whether it is 4-inch thick, or whether it is 12-inch thick. What is the size of the wall, again that has to be cleared in the specification part itself. Since we are studying specifications, we need to do this one. So specifications, entirely we have to mention all those things in the specification part itself. Okay, now bricks are over. Now who will be providing electricity? Who will provide electricity, and who will provide sanitations to the labor? All these things to be cleared in the specification part itself. Electricity is something we will be cutting machines, we'll be using machines, cutting machines, welding machines, so many things we'll be using in the construction project, that has to be cleared in the specification. And again, if the laborers are staying on site, proper sanitation need to be done to them, proper electricity to be provided to the laborers, different types of activities will be carried out on site. So that has to be clearly mentioned in the specification part. Then after that, in case of your final fittings or final arrangements, which brands we have, again different brands, and In sanitations we have different brands, in tiles we have different brands, in marble we have different marbles, okay, flooring. Then in again, in wood, in case of wood, we have different again African teak, Indian teak, we have Indian teak, African teak, we have salwood, we have different types of uh, wood we have, isn't it? So which type of wood will be using for doors, frames, and doors, windows? Okay, aluminum windows or different windows we have in the market. So which type of material you will be using, that has to be cleared in the specification part. Okay, so this is about your specifications. All these things again will be studying in a detailed fashion. Now comes the market survey. In case of your market survey, as we all know that, suppose for example we have a commercial building like this, commercial area, it is completely a commercial area, and these are the commercial shops we have. Okay, these are all commercial shops. So if somebody wants to construct residential building in these two blocks, okay, residential building in these two blocks, then the problem is, so I'll write here, suppose this is your commercial area, and here we have all shops, okay, like this. So in these shops what will happen, either it may, if somebody wants to construct a residential building here, okay, if somebody is constructing a residential building in this locality, then it may lead to it may lead a big problem to the people who are staying in this residential building. Why? Because many commercial activities will be happening in this area, heavy loaded vehicles will be coming here, different types of people will be coming here, different types of vehicles will be coming over here, for to in because of that the people who are staying in this residential building will face difficulties, isn't it? Parking issues may occur, so proper market survey is to be done. Along with that, in case of market survey, in case of your government projects, in case of government projects, if somebody wants to construct a bridge, so if this bridge is suitable for that particular construction, if it is needed to the people, if government construct that bridge, whether it will be helpful for the society, whether it will be helpful for the economy, whether it will be helpful for the people who are moving on that particular bridge. Okay, so whether it is needed or not, that has to be done in the market survey. Okay, if this bridge comes in under the construction, what will happen to the people staying in and around that particular area, and what will happen to the people who are staying, who are doing commercial activity in that particular area? So that has to be studied in a proper fashion. Then only market survey will help us in giving outputs to the economy, to the government. Along with that, if somebody wants to construct a dam, so whether this dam is suitable for the construction, whether it will help in the growth of economy, whether it is helpful in the growth of farmers, it will be helpful for farmers, whether it is helpful for different people, whether it is helpful for or not, that has to be cleared in this market survey. Then again, if people are going for roadways again, then whether it is suitable, whether it is required or not, that is nothing but your market survey. Then we'll move to the rate analysis. What do you mean by rate analysis? Rate analysis is something wherein we do proper costing of the materials. What is the cost to be executed? Because different works have different costing, it is not necessary that the cost of a small bridge will be equal to the cost of a big house. Okay, it may be different. So in case of rate analysis, in case of rate analysis in case of rate analysis, we'll be having, suppose for example we have roadways. So basic thing we'll take, that is labor. One side we have commercial building, commercial work, commercial building or commercial. Okay, here we have commercial building and here we have roadways. So the labor cost of this Labor, this labor will be the cost of this labor will be different, and cost of this labor will be different, isn't it? And along with that, if you are going for materials, here also we are using same material. Suppose for example you are using same concrete, and here also you are using same concrete, but since we are going for roadways, we need transportation of those materials. We need to shift the materials, we need to shift the machinery, we need to shift the labor from one place to another place, which will cost us more in case of roadways, whereas in case of commercial building, labor and material will be available on the same site, and thereby reducing the cost of that particular project. So labor for this one will be different, labor for this one will be, cost of labor will be different, material cost will be different for this one, material cost will be different for roadways. Again, different types of methods and different phases will come in construction work. So that is why rate analysis is something wherein we need to be very clear. It is not necessary that if you are using 20 cubic meter of concrete in commercial building, and the same thing you are using 20 cubic meter of road construction, the cost of this work and the cost of this work will not be equal to same, because the method, the machinery and the location will vary in rate analysis. That is nothing but your rate analysis. Rate analysis has to be done in a clear fashion. Commercial building will be something different, for this is for commercial building and this is for roadways. Both the things will be completely different. That is what is actually needed in rate analysis. Material costing, for example, if you are considering cement, if you consider cement has to be consumed within 1 month or 1.5 month. We cannot store cement for more than 1 month. So in the same way, when you are going for roadways construction, we cannot store cement, isn't it? The places will change, the shifting will be continuous from one place to another place. So thereby it may change the costing of the materials in a different fashion. So that is nothing but your rate analysis. Okay. Now in the same presentation, we'll be learning about abstracts, we'll be learning about how to prepare billing, and what is tenders and how many types of tenders are there, then what is contract, bookkeeping, valuation. All these things we'll be studying in this presentation. One by one we'll be studying all those things. Okay. So in the next slide, we have a definition of estimation. That is, estimation is a scientific way of working out the approximate estimate of an engineering project before execution of the work. So that means, as I told you before, that we cannot calculate the exact cost of the product, isn't it? Suppose for example I have a mobile phone, and the mobile phone manufacturer can say that okay, this costs this much amount, the production cost of this material is this much. Okay, they can easily identify or clarify or calculate the estimate of this small mobile phone or laptop or any other small material. But in case of a construction work, in case of a building work, we cannot clearly calculate the exact amount of that particular project. So that is why we need to use some different techniques to calculate those things. So that is why we need a scientific way of working out the approximate cost. As I told you just now, that we can calculate approximate cost. Actual cost and estimated cost will be different. Actual cost and estimated cost. Actual cost and estimated cost will be vary. It may vary. That is why we calculate approximate cost. We calculate approximate cost of that work of an engineering before execution of the work. So this is the definition of your estimation. Okay. Estimation is the scientific way of working out the approximate cost of an engineering project before execution of work. It is totally different from calculation of exact cost after completion of the project. As I told you, in this case, this point resembles this mobile phone. That mobile phone can be calculated, cost of that particular small mobile phone can be calculated, whereas the cost of this big project cannot be calculated. So that is why it is mentioned here that it is totally different from calculation of the exact cost after completion of the project. And again, in this case, I would like to write here estimator. So who is estimator? The one who estimates is nothing but estimator. So estimator requires thorough knowledge of construction. So it should have complete knowledge of construction procedures. So for example, if somebody is going for dam construction, he need to be very clear how to construct a dam, what are the procedures involved in constructing a dam, what are the things involved in the construction of dam, has to be cleared by the estimator. He should know all the step by step procedure of that particular project. If he doesn't know the entire procedure and construction procedure of that particular project, then it may lead to different consequences in the execution of the project. So estimator should have thorough knowledge of that particular project, and he might be he should know the cost of the material, he should know the cost of the labor, in addition to skill, experience and foresight. So as I told you, dams is completely, construction of dams is different, construction of uh, road is completely different, construction of bridges is completely different. So each and every work is completely different from one another. Construction is something which has construction is a versatile word, isn't it? It is a versatile word. Under construction, different categories will come. Dams will come, roadways will come, bridges will come, residential buildings will come, commercial buildings will come. So one who is going to do the estimate, or who is going to prepare an estimate, should have thorough knowledge of construction procedures and cost of materials. Cost of material is something wherein especially in case of cement, you can see that in case of summer season, cost of cement will increase, and in case of winter season, cost of cement will get decreased. So the variation of these materials should be understood by the estimator. Along with that, what is the cost of the labor for these works should be known by the estimator, okay, the one who is going to estimate that one. In addition to skill, experience, foresight and good judgment, these are the things which are actually needed. Skill, experience, foresight. Skill, experience, foresight and good judgment, these are the things which are actually needed. Without this one, we cannot execute the project. These are the things which are needed, however, but construction procedures, cost of materials, cost of labor, all these things has to be properly understood by the estimator. That is what is actually needed. Okay, so we'll go to the next slide. That is, now see here, this is very important slide, that is basic philosophy for estimation. Estimator, what to estimate actually, what are the things to be estimated? Okay, the first thing which we have to estimate is what are the resources we have. What are the resources? Nothing but what are the materials available near to the site. Okay, what are the resources we have? Materials like cement, sand. Then we have to calculate time. What is the time of that particular project? Then how much labor is actually needed for that? Okay, human skills. In case of human skills, we'll be having engineer. We need to hire engineer. Under those engineers, we'll be having supervisors, isn't it? Under those supervisors, we'll be having again foremen, isn't it? Then we'll be having labor. All these things are needed for the construction of work. So human skills, these are the things need to be calculated by the estimator. This estimator should calculate what are the resources available, what are the times, what time management, skills, and finally cost. Okay, now if you turn towards this side, that is the triangle, you can see here project estimation. We have three important things here. The scope of the project, the scope of the estimator lies under three important aspects, that is cost, quality and time. Cost, quality and time. So what do you mean by these things? So the scope of the estimator is, first he has to calculate the cost, then he has to calculate the time. Depending upon the quality, he has to estimate the cost. Okay. So again, suppose for example, if the cost of the project is 1.25 crores, okay, if the cost of the project is 1.25 crores and it is going beyond 1.25 crores. So suppose for example, the cost of the project is going beyond 1.25 crores, that is, it is somewhere it is reaching 1.75 crores. So what happens here is, once the cost is fluctuated, then quality of the project will get reduced. At the same time, once the financial resources are not available, then it may lead to time management again. So time, cost and quality, all these things are very important, so which has to be taken care by the estimator. Once the estimate goes wrong, then it may lead to it may lead to the depreciation of quality, depreciation of time, and delaying of the project. Then again we have different consequences once the project gets delayed and once there is fluctuation in the estimation. So proper estimation is to be done by the estimator. Okay, right.